Welcome back. You're watching The Full View. Now, millions of South Africans depend on state-sponsored social grants to put food on their tables. As of the 1st of this month, the South African Post Office has been appointed as the preferred payment provider for social grants. But it seems to have been ill-prepared, as many indigent South Africans, including the elderly and people living with disabilities, have queued for days since the weekend, unable to access monies due to a failure in the new system. The South African Social Security Agency, SASSA, says it is aware that some users have experienced glitches with their new cards and has promised to resolve the challenges. Well, Abraham Mahlangu is the acting CEO and joins us now in the studio. Good evening to you, and thank you for talking to us tonight. I suppose the first question to ask you is, why have cardholders been unable to access their monies?
Good evening, Bongani, and good evening to the viewers and listeners out there. It has been a problem that we really are very much, aware of since the midnight of the 30th, coming to the 1st of July, where those that are getting their monies through the new SASSA card, the money was deposited accordingly by SASSA into those accounts. But because of the transition between the old card that was being CPS card into the new SASSA card, there has been technical glitches for that money to be accessed, although it was already transferred into those. And looking into this particular matter, we looked and realized that I think at one go, quite a number of beneficiaries, just at the beginning of the pay cycle, they actually went and wanted to access this particular money in their cards, and it clocked the new system that we have, we are using with SAPO, and that has actually caused the beneficiaries this pain, of which we are very much apologetic, and we really want to say we are apologizing for that. We are working flat out on it to resolve it. In fact, I will report later that there is improvements now in the system.
Why was this not anticipated?
Well, we didn't actually start with the new system this month. In fact, in May, we transacted through the system. There were no glitches at all. But what has happened is that, for example, the number of accounts that were being run through the new system were about 233,000. Now it jumped to 920,000.
So precisely because of that increase in volume, why did you not anticipate that a problem like this could arise?
Well, we actually had done a lot of tests on it, and we really couldn't pick up this glitch. It happened on two fronts. One was at the point of sale terminal, where upgrades needed to be happening in various franchises. It does not mean that all the beneficiaries were not getting it. In fact, out of 1.2 million attempts on the point of sale devices of the South African Post Office, 683,000 were actually successful. Some of these...
That's just over half.
Yeah, about 63% of those were able to access it. However, when they went to other channels such as Pick and Pay and so on, they were able to get their grants.
I guess the point I'm making is that for many who are dependent on these social grants, this isn't just some minor nuisance.
It's not. It is not. It is definitely for that reason that we apologize to the citizens, and we're working flat out to rescue the situation and bring it back into full capacity. And this is what we are achieving. As at the close of business today, we were getting 100% transaction rate success on the point of sales and also on the ATMs. From tomorrow, it is going to be very much improved.
This has been a problem since Saturday. I mean, surely the situation where you have grannies crying in queues, standing there for days, not being able to access their money, with little communication, with no explanation, not quite understanding what's happened, surely that is unacceptable.
It is unacceptable. We have issued a statement over the weekend on Sunday, and from Monday onward, we've been very regularly on radio and other medium of communication. We issued even a press statement to apologize to the citizens and also to indicate what it is that we are doing to remedy the situation. We have contacted all the value chain role players, the Reserve Bank, BankSafe, PASA, which is the Payment Association of South Africa. All of them came to the party. That's why we were able to crack this technical glitch to make sure that we release the blockage.
Mr. Mahlangu, how do you respond to the criticism that this is once again a display of contempt for the poor. Whilst your apology is obviously welcome, ultimately it's not going to put food on the table for the people who are still stuck with this problem since Saturday.
We are saying to our beneficiaries, the money is accessible at other payment channels. We are encouraging them that if there was this glitch, for example, at a retail store, let's say Spar, of which we have experienced quite a number of them in some franchises, other payment channels such as the ATMs now and the Pick and Pay groups are actually able to assist them.
In some small towns where they have glitches might be the only option for them to get then to the next destination where they could get assistance is going to cost them more money. There's going to be a lot more problems. So once again, I'm asking you, there are those who say, whilst your apology is welcome, this is yet another example in which the poor in this country are being treated with contempt. This should have been anticipated. It's not good enough to just say sorry.
We are definitely going to be consistent in saying this should not have happened. We are apologetic about it, and we have put in place plans to remedy the situation. That's why I'm reporting that that has since improved. And we are definitely making sure that we communicate with them. We are giving them the options that government has put in place for them to access their money.
Serge Balamont from CPS did warn that this would fail. I mean, now, whether you like him or not, whether you agree with him or not, it does appear at this point he was right.
It could well be, but I want to put context to your comment, Bongani, to say at the time when even CPS started, they started with probably about 5 million people, 5 million grants. We are doing 17.5 million of that. And they were given quite a number of months, if not years, to stabilize the system. We have started with a new system about a month and a half ago. And this system is taking off, with these glitches, and of which we are admitting. But
so what do people do then who are finding themselves in this situation where their matters have been unresolved, where the pay points that they've been trying to access can't help them? Must they borrow money until then? I mean, we've seen the coldest weather in the country this year. We're seeing snow, we're seeing flooding, we're seeing all kinds of challenges. If people, the most vulnerable, don't have money, what must they do?
I think we should separate the two. Those that are receiving money at the cash pay points, those who are not affected necessarily by this, those are getting it. It's only those whose money was being received in the bank accounts, and these are the people that we are very sorry for having inconvenience. And this is what we have resolved so far, and we believe that from tomorrow they will definitely get access to their money.
So from tomorrow, your commitment is that every single grant recipient will be able to access
They will start getting their money, definitely. And we're also encouraging them that they should look at whatever available infrastructure that we've communicated, such as the retailers, such as the post office now, that their point of sale system is up and running and it has been boosted in terms of capacity.
This isn't the first time we're seeing problems of this kind. The system has been accused of being riddled with corruption. People have been complaining in other instances, not related necessarily to this particular challenge, that corrupt officials are able to access their funds, monies are not deposited into the correct accounts. And the most frustrating thing for many people is that there's very little communication. The call center number is often down, there's no response. How do you deal with those? What's your answer to those?
We are actually integrating our call center. We are upgrading it now with a new system. And also, if there are incidents of fraud that people allege, they must come forward and report them on our fraud line.
I've seen things being put on Twitter, for example, where SASSA has been tagged and there's been very little responses forthcoming.
We'll definitely pay attention to that. I have not been aware of that being done and not responded to.
But again, I suppose ultimately the frustration for many, many people is that it's systems changes. It's something bigger than the individuals who are making the decisions, who are going to sleep comfortably in their beds tonight with their bellies full.
Yes, it is really one thing that happens in transition moments when you are moving from a big typical system to another system. These kind of things do happen. We are not proud of those.
People must just live with them. These things happen. It's a part of how this country operates with the most vulnerable.
It is not. It is not acceptable.
That's what you just said. You said these things happen. It's a glitch with the system. Is that what you want South Africans to live with?
Not at all. Not at all. It is for that reason that we are coming forward to say to the people of South Africa, we are not proud of what has happened. We are doing as much as we can to make sure that we remedy that situation and it shouldn't happen again. We are not proud of it. We are not saying it's a standard that they must accept. We are not saying that.
All right, we do thank you for coming in, and we'll hold you to your commitment that by tomorrow, every single social grant recipient will be able to access their funds.
Let me qualify that. I said, now that we've unblocked the glitches, from tomorrow, the processing speed of the grants payment should be definitely be able to get most of the people.
Should be, but you can't guarantee it.
If the people tomorrow, not all of them go to access their grants, possibly not all of them will be able to get that.
So how soon can you give us an assurance that everyone who's dependent on those grants will get their monies?
In the next 2 to 3 days, I am 100% sure that we'll have dealt with all the backlog. But for now, people should go to...
As long as not all of them go.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, if you are saying to me, by tomorrow, all of them would have received their grants.
That's what you said.
I'm saying if all of them, people were to wake up tomorrow and go to various pay points or various areas of interaction with the payment system, they will get their grants because we have seen the improvement in the system. But in the next 2 to 3 days, we'll clear the entire backlog if there's any ones that have not managed to go during these days that I'm mentioning.
So hopefully, but you can't be sure.
Between the next 2 to 3 days, we'll clear the backlog.
Right, that's where we'll leave it. Mr. Abraham Mahlangu is the acting CEO of SASSA. Stay with us. We've got more news after this.